You can bring as many gladiators as you wish. But these are not the death pits of Dur, and I am not a sleeping Trandoshan god.
Uh-oh. Dad and Rock presents the Book of Boba Fett after show. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
And we are here to talk about Chapter 2 of the Book of Boba Fett, entitled The Tribes of Tatooine.
It could have been just titled Black Krrsantan, and I'd have loved it. I mean, you forget the tribes of Tatooine, just Black Krrsantan, and I dropped a load.
Yeah. Every time you say that, it takes me off my game here. I dropped a load. Anyway, we're Dad and Rock. If you haven't seen any of these before, we do all kinds of after shows for all kinds of different shows in the past, like Ted Lasso and WandaVision, a lot of the Disney Plus stuff. We did one for Mandalorian Season 2. That was actually the first time that Chris and I went on YouTube to discuss the show. We're huge Star Wars fans. We know a lot about it. And we're loving the Book of Boba Fett so far. We're here each and every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. And yeah, what did you think about this chapter?
Dude, let's just do it. I mean, I was watching the show. I was already enjoying this episode a lot more than episode 1. When we seen Boba go to that cantina, Garza's sanctuary.
Yeah.
When he goes to Garza's sanctuary after the mayor sends him there to say, "Hey, you may want to check something out," and we hear the drums. Did you know what was coming when you heard the drums? Did you suspect the Hutts coming or the twins?
No, I didn't suspect I knew somebody important was coming because the fanfare, they've been telling Boba Fett this whole time, like, whoa, I didn't expect you, where's all your entourage? Where's the
You're not being carried in, yeah.
Right, where's your big whoop-de-doo? So when you actually started to see that come around the corner there in Mos Espa, it was like, oh, somebody big is coming. Then little did I know that was coming. Two somebody bigs were coming, yeah.
But just seeing them alone, because we've only seen them in animated form. So seeing them in live action, that was cool enough. That would have been.
I've never seen them before. What were they in the Clone Wars?
Yeah, they were in the Clone Wars animated.
Okay, how are they related to Jaba?
Cousins, I think.
Okay,
from Al Hutta. I mean, basically they don't get out very often. They have their certain areas, and now that Jaba has been dead, and that territory has basically been open for the entirety. Well, actually, it wasn't all that long. I think a time between when he was killed in the barge.
Probably about 5 years, because he was killed in the barge in Return of the Jedi, and that's when Boba Fett went into the Sarlacc pit. And the Mandalorian time frame is like 5 years post Return of the Jedi.
Ah, yes.
And that's where the current story takes place, is right around that Mandalorian time frame. So yeah, it's been kind of like the Wild West there at Tatooine for about 5 years with a big power vacuum.
So when they come in and they like look at him, and he just stares them down. I mean, they all know each other.
Yeah.
And he's standing there, and they call him basically a bounty hunter. He's like, "No, I'm the major domo here. Back up." And then they bring their muscle in. And as soon as I seen the back and the shoulder, I knew who it was, and they got the first holy crap out of me. I'm like, there's so many avenues this badass Wookiee can go. I mean, honestly, I would take Krrsantan over Chewie.
Oh, as far as he looks bigger than Chewie, right? He looks a little bigger, broader. He's meaner. Chewie. Yeah.
He basically, we hear him talking about the pits of Dune. I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah. He volunteered to go into slave fighting.
Yeah.
And he won his freaking, his freedom through that. He was the only volunteer to do that.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's so many avenues. There's avenues with Dr. Aphra. There's Vader. There's Jabba. I mean, there's 2 droids that if I see, holy crap, dude.
That's the thing. You and I are like, so that this character. This character's the live action. For people who are just watching the live action stuff, maybe the movies, people's just watching Mandalorian or now this new show, The Book of Boba Fett, they don't know who this character is.
No, that's the thing. Even the cartoons, you wouldn't know what it is. You have to know some of the comics.
Right.
You have had to at least read maybe one of the Vader series or the Dr. Aphra series to actually know who this is. So I would say good 90 to 95% of people who've seen him for the first time this past episode would have no clue. They did not get the reaction out of them like they got out of me. Like I stood up.
Christopher's asking, are we going to see him in Kenobi like in the comics?
Dude, oh man. Now see, they're setting it up.
Yeah.
They are really setting it up. Like it's possible now that they introduced him in this comic, or not in this comic, in this show with Kenobis, we may see Jaba send Black KRRSANTAN after the Owens because they weren't paying the water tax. And the reason they weren't paying the water tax was because Kenobi was telling them not to.
Yeah, and Wookiees live a long time, right? I think Chewie's like 250 years old or something.
Yes.
And he's still fairly young as far as Wookiees go. So yeah, this Black KRRSANTAN character has been around for a few generations now. I actually know him. I do know him from the comics too. There's the actual Star Wars comic line that takes place simultaneously with the Vader one. Basically, it's the story of Luke, Leia, and Han in between the movies. So during that time, Luke, Leia, and Han were on this planet in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and Black KRRSANTAN comes down, and basically him and Chewbacca get in a fight, and Chewbacca barely escapes with his life in the comic that I read. So that's my understanding of this character. I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, he is a badass.
Yeah,
and he winds up working side by side with Vader, looking for Dr. Aphra.
Yeah,
and then eventually he works for Aphra so much that she owes him such a debt. He doesn't leave. He's like, you know what? I'm sticking with you because I'm taking my cut.
Right.
But there's two droids. There are two droids that I want to see. And they've kind of already laid the groundwork to Boba Fett needing one.
Protocol droid?
It's a protocol droid called 000.
Okay.
000 is a torture protocol droid. The 30 is basically inhabited his torturous, murderous, personality. So he's not a go-lucky C-3PO at all. Right. He wants to kill and murder anybody and everyone he sees. Any fleshy person he wants to take down. And then he has a friend that is an astro droid who's BT-1, who is just as devious.
Aren't they just like the, evil mirror universe versions of 3PO and R2?
Essentially, yeah. And they work. Afro basically went ahead and put the 000 protocol in the other one.
Yeah.
And they started kind of working with Vader with him as well. But their personalities are through the roof. Now, I don't know if it would work in this show, but we already know that we needed a protocol droid. Yeah. We also know that we need the ability to go ahead and show people how powerful you are. And a torture droid is that type, he can disconnect himself. You know what I mean? He said he did it, I didn't do it type thing.
Right. That would be fun. And you could get some famous guy to be the voice of, some famous voice, some famous British actor to be the voice of this evil protocol droid.
Yeah, this 000. Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, as you can see, I was geeking out because I wasn't just geeking out because I knew the character Black KRRSANTAN.
Right.
I was geeking out of the other possibilities that we could see as well. So I've watched episode 1, I've watched twice. Basically once for fun, once for notes.
Right.
This episode now I've watched twice, but I've watched the clip of Black KRRSANTAN come out probably a good 10 times. Just the back and forth between Boba, the twins, and seeing Black KRRSANTAN, and then the twins basically telling Boba that he better sleep lightly.
Yeah, it was a good intro, man. As far as introducing what amounts to be a new character to a lot of people, and the twins too. I mean, for them to just kind of come around the corner with the pomp and circumstance and just look as mean and nasty as all three of them did, that was cool.
I loved the look because KRRSANTAN and Boba knew each other.
Right.
They knew it because he looked at
the same industry.
Yeah, and what he referred to the two instances, him being a gladiator, and then the Trandoshan guards that he killed, the 3 Trandoshan guards that he murdered.
Yeah.
So he's like, he knows him. They both, obviously there's no love lost between these two.
Right.
Because he looked at him, and when he turned away to walk back with the Hutts, and he kind of growled at him, I'm like, oh man, I want to see a confrontation.
Oh, you can't not have a confrontation now. Something's going to happen.
Oh, I want those two to go at. I want something to happen.
I was impressed. I'll tell you what, too, with this scene. The last episode felt very much like a TV show, but this felt more in line with the larger. I guess what I'm saying is the effects were good. I mean, the Hutts could be here or there as far as visual effects. Jabba the Hutt was great in Return of the Jedi, but he was a big practical puppet, like a huge puppet.
Yeah.
So he was real just on screen. When George Lucas started to fit around with CG Jabba in like the special editions, there were times where he was looking like, oh, not so great.
Yeah.
And then, when it came like prequel era and sequel trilogy, the CG is there. But yeah, for a TV show budget, like these two Hutts, they looked good. They didn't take me out at all.
Now, the one thing that was completely just like distracting to me was the male twin.
Yeah.
His tattoo under his mouth looked like a shovel. Why the shovel was there, I don't know, but it felt like it looked like a shovel when he was kind of had his every time he had like his rat and he had him up against his mouth. And
he was dousing, he was getting the sweat off of him with the live rat. It was pretty gross.
But the shovel was probably the most distracting thing that was there.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Between the way they looked, the way Black Krrsantan looked, the actual music, and the way they dramatically showed him.
And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. The flashback stuff with the train heist was like way better looking than anything from last week too. So
yeah, and we talked about it briefly like last week. Would have been beneficial for them to release both episodes 1 and 2 at the same time.
I think so for sure. Yeah.
Yes, and it was an overwhelming yes.
Yeah,
and I think they may not have, knowing now, just because of the length of episode 2. Episode 2 was closer to an hour.
Right.
Episode 1 was almost like a truncated TV show.
Yeah, it just felt so much better. Whatever hesitations that you and I had after chapter 1, we're like, I don't know, it was so short. It felt more like an episode of TV. It looked kind of cheaper, and I don't know what's going on with Boba Fett, and things are falling into place. And with chapter 2 already, like huge improvement from one week to the next.
I wasn't discouraged after last week. I still had hope for the show because I seen the direction they were going.
Yeah.
But I wasn't blown away. Like after I watched episode 1 of season 1 of Mandalorian,
right,
and at the end of it, where we see Baby Yoda or Grogu, as we know now, there was that holy crap. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get that holy crap. This was amazing out of episode 1, but they got it in the first 10 minutes out of episode 2 for me.
Yeah. Just to backtrack a little here before we got to the Hutt. So they ended up getting, they had that parkour scene from last week where they actually got a hold of one of these assassins. They bring him back to Jabba's palace. Well, formerly Jabba's palace, now Boba Fett's palace, right?
Yes.
And they psych him out with the whole Rancor pit where they get the guy to talk.
That was funny.
Yeah.
We all knew the Rancor wasn't there anymore.
Right. Hasn't been a Rancor there in at least 5 years. But yeah, so they get this guy to talk, which famously they don't talk. He spills the beans and says that the mayor hired those assassins, but then he gets to the mayor. That's the thing. He gets to the mayor, and the mayor pretty vehemently says that he didn't and has the assassin shot. I think the mayor did, honestly.
I don't. I think he spoke. And if he's not going to say anything, he's going to give bogus information.
Right.
So he took him. I mean, I think the guy knew he was dead regardless.
Yeah.
Because once he gets to the mayor then says they can't operate outside of Hutt space, which technically this is no longer Hutt space. There's no Hutt, there.
Right.
So, I mean, he went and he goes and awesome. I really think even more so because how one of the twins basically told him to sleep lightly. They call him a bounty hunter. Right. I think those two things combined, I really think that the Hutts sent them in advance, because since they already operate within Hutt space, it's not hard for them to go ahead and contact this the Night Wind to go ahead and have them, try to put the hit out on them early.
What this episode does, it introduces a big bad guy, a big opposition for Boba Fett immediately. Like if it's only Boba Fett versus the twins for the rest of the season, that's good enough. Like and Black Krrsantan, like that is enough of a threat to be very entertaining and to get good story at it, the remainder of the season. But that's probably they may not be the only ones looking.
There's a whole another storyline we got to talk about when we get to the flashback scene.
Yeah, because
I mean, there's references to movies, there's references to other crime syndicates.
Right.
There's quite a bit within that. So we got a current day situation with where he is now, which was a very small portion of the show, frankly. There wasn't, I mean, maybe it was maybe 15, 20 minutes at most we got of the basically his current times.
Right.
And what we didn't see, no, we seen him, but he winds up back into back to tank, which leads back to my thinking.
More back to, yeah.
I don't think he's surviving the show.
Yeah. Oh, well, you think, I don't know if he's going to die by the end of this, but I think we're going to learn something about Boba Fett that maybe we haven't learned before. I think maybe because he's a clone, something from maybe he's been sick the entire time that we've known Boba Fett. We've just never knew. You know what I mean? Like maybe he's always had to go into back to tank.
What would you think of this? What if they were actually setting this up for Finnick to wind up taking the control? Like,
oh,
they're setting her up to be the next big crime lord.
Right. Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, that'd be fine. Introduce me like the same thing that Mandalorian did. We had no idea who the heck this Din Djarin Mandalorian guy was, but now I'm invested because we spent time with them. We had some fun character interaction with him and around him, and new settings, new stories. So yeah, all you have to do is tell a good story around Fennec, and I'll be with that too. That's fine.
Well, we got her in animated form. We got her in The Mandalorian. Now we're getting her in the Book of Boba Fett. So we're learning who she is. Now I did see her about piss her pants when she's standing there, and BLACK KRRSANTAN basically like it looked like he may have like cocked the weapon or something. You see her kind of do the same thing, and you see a look on her face like, oh, this is going down. I don't know if I'm game for this.
As much trouble as they had last week with just that crew surrounding them of assassins, which didn't seem all that, all that terrifying.
I would say let the Wookiee win.
Yeah. Where's Boba Fett's jetpack, man? Maybe it got eaten by the Sarlacc. I don't know, but he hasn't been able to blast his way out of situations just yet.
Yeah, no, that would not be a situation. If I was Fennec, I would be like, you know what, dude, we were cool.
Right.
Bye.
One more question about this current time frame. So at the end of the scene, the twins, they kind of skedaddle. They tell Boba basically to sleep lightly, watch his back, very threatening. That whole entourage, they take off. And then Boba and Fennec, they have a small dialogue where they're like, well, we need to get permission to kill the Hutts.
I was going to ask you
like a mafia hit. Like, permission from who? Like, who
to kill the Hutts? Yeah, who do they need to ask permission from?
Yeah.
It's like, who would they have to fear if they killed a Hutt? Like, who's in control of the Hutts?
Are we potentially going to see them travel to Hutt space next episode?
Oh, if they go to Hutt, that'd be freaking amazing.
Yeah, we've never seen that live action.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, now I didn't even think of that possibility.
Right.
I don't know if we got enough time in the show.
I'm just trying to think who here on Tatooine would have the ability to grant them permission to kill Hutts.
I think it's a crime syndicate.
Yeah.
And I think without burying, we're going to talk about it, but we learned that there is spice being transported on Tatooine.
Okay.
The protectors of that train who are doing offing Tuskin Raiders are Pikes. That is a huge, huge, huge crime syndicate.
Right.
And they reference Solo, the mines of Kessel.
Yeah.
So we already know what's going on there. We also know of another crime syndicate that is run from Kessel, and we know them from Solo.
Well, let's get into it here. I guess that's pretty much we talked about everything from the current timeline, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm getting way too pumped. I'm all over the place there, guys.
Pumped. That was a big moment. That scene, it was pretty much the star of that show is one scene, and we've already shown the clip up front here. But that was a big enough moment to be such.
Should we run it again just for the sake of running it again?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and run that again. Hey guys, check this out. This is badass.
You can bring as many gladiators as you wish, but these are not the deathbeds of Dur, and I am not a sleeping Trandoshan guard.
Damn.
There you go.
Damn. Real quick, guys, if you're here with us still and you're enjoying what we're doing, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment. We are holy. We are very interactive. Let us know what you're thinking, live here on the show. and we'll interact with you as well. But if that got the same interaction out of you as it got me, because you're seeing me again here, and I've seen that so many times, I just can't get over it. But there was one piece that I mentioned to you before we went live that he was missing, and you think maybe just hair kind of grew over it. There's a battle wound that he's supposed to have a scar over. I think it's his right eye.
Right.
Basically, that Obi-Wan gives him from his lightsaber, and he's basically a one-eyed Wookiee now. He has one eye that works, one eye that's completely damaged because of the lightsaber. But we don't see that scar, and that's I don't know. That's very, very nitpicky, and they may have done it completely for a reason, because we know that they use we know Marvel uses the comics as more of a guide. We don't know exactly what Star Wars is doing, because the one that he got it in, I think, may not even be canon anymore.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That could have been a simple production error, or it could have been on purpose. I don't know.
Okay, Chris, seen where I was going with it. Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
Will
Kiri,
we see
right?
Crimson Dawn? And I can't pronounce her name.
Emilia Clarke playing Kira from Solo.
Kira, that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we see that character. Let's just get into the flashback, because
So let's talk a little bit more about the other half of this episode, where it's the flashback where he's Boba Fett spending time with these Tusken Raiders. And I loved this part as much as the upfront part of the first part of the current timeline. Honestly, I had hesitation about spending more time with the Tusken Raiders, because I think I said at the last after show that I was just like, we can infer what's next with him. He's going to learn from them, and then that pretty much takes us to where we see him in The Mandalorian season 2.
But Christopher was like, more flashbacks. If I remember right, he's like, give us more flashbacks.
But I mean, if they're flashbacks like this, where we learn a ton of stuff about Tusken Raiders and their culture and their history, apparently here's what we learn in this episode. Tusken Raiders are like natives to Tatooine. They're not like outsiders that came in and inhabited. Like, they were the species of Tatooine, and
prior to the sea drying up.
Yeah, and other people, like outsiders came in, like the humankind, and they basically have pushed these people back into almost not even existing.
Now, do we think the Tusken Raiders are not humanoid? Like, underneath their wrappings and everything, do you think that they're not humanoid and they're like that now because the way that they were able to learn how to survive?
Probably. The day that we see a Tusken Raider, an actual legit Tusken Raider, take off that mask is going to be a big day in Star Wars. That's like seeing a Jawa take off the hood or something. It's a big mystery. I almost want them to never be, to take off the mask and reveal that many mysteries about them. But to just learn some history and some culture with them, was like really cool this episode.
Oh, I loved how there was a scene when they were like, basically the leader was talking to Boba Fett, basically saying, there's many of us, but we have to kill to survive. There's many different tribes. They're not like we think. When we originally think the Tusken Raiders, we think one unified people that are out there.
Yeah,
they're not. They're individual like families that are out there, like surviving on their own.
And we think of them as harsh. These people that just attack for no reason. They're basically tribes to be avoided. The first time we see them, they attack Luke. The next time that we see them, they're taking pot shots at the Phantom Menace, at the pod races. They get slaughtered. They kidnap Shmi. They kidnap Shmi, and they're not very nice to her, right? So Anakin just wipes them out. So we've never gotten.
That explains why it was so few. It was a family. Basically, he went and offed a family,
right?
Pod of Tusken Raiders.
Yeah,
because it makes it look like he wiped out the entirety of the Tusken Raiders in the movie. Which now we know that they're so scattered.
Just a pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So to see another side of them was really, really cool. Christopher says, Boba watching Django and the Slave One flying away on Camino. Yeah, they're gonna run out of deleted scenes from Clone Wars. Yeah, that was funny. That was amazing how they took. You could tell probably what they did. It was another actor that they filmed from the back, walking up to the window, and then took the original kid actor's face and kind of CG'd it onto the window's reflection. But it was very effective as far as when Boba Fett was, that lizard went up his nose. They were basically accepting him into the tribe, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Because, we go back and we find out there's trains coming through the area, and every time it does, it's blasting people and killing other family members.
Right.
So it's over and over and over again. So eventually, Boba's like, "I'm done with this.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm leaving. I'm taking a gun. I'm taking my stick, and I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of this for you.
Well, he tracks down these 4 like, I don't know if they were just kind of thugs or if they're part of a crime syndicate themselves or whatever.
Right.
You got like the 2 L's that kind of meet together.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to have significance, and I'm not sure
They're
where.
like some kind of Trandoshan gang or something. I don't know if they're a part of something bigger or their own thing or what, but yeah, it's something to watch out for.
So he hunts these guys down, and there's this couple trying to have a drink in a bar, and there's one.
Not just any bar. They're hanging out at Tashi Station. I was going to go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. They're at the Tashi Station. There's a deleted scene from the 1977 Star Wars that actually was filmed in this place, or a place that looked very much like this. And the 2 people that were sitting at the table here, they look very much like characters that were actually Luke's friends. Luke had friends, Biggs Darklighter, the dude with the mustache, where most of his scenes were cut. And 2 other, there was a there was a female and a male that were also friends, this collective group of 4 friends. And they've looked very much like these characters. I think we're supposed to assume that this is actually Tashi Station, and these 2 people are friends of Luke Skywalker.
That's a great catch, because I completely missed that.
Yeah, that's a deep cut, man. Like
not just any couple either.
Yeah, they're Luke's friends. Who knows how long it's been since Luke has seen him. I don't think he went back to Tatooine very often after he left.
No, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic catch. Because I honestly, I was sucked in. I was waiting. I wanted to see badass Boba. We haven't seen him, and he came in, and dude, he just wrecked these dudes.
He did.
I mean, with his stick. I mean, he wrecked the place too. He didn't even care. And the funny thing, the bartender was like, "Meh." He just starts cleaning up. Like it's like it was not just another day, while they were there.
That's exactly what I wanted to see. And that's what we were lacking the first episode, right? Where he was having such a hard time with these assassins going after him. But this one, he just comes in and he has authority. He just walks in and he looks like trouble, because he's still wearing like his undersuit fatigues, the white dusty.
Yeah, man, you think those things will be nasty, dirty, and all grimy?
Oh, he must stink to high heaven, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
but out there thinking about how many of them actually stink. I mean, you probably wouldn't even know one from the other.
Yeah, everybody probably stinks on Tatooine. They're all sweating.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, he goes in there, lays wreck to him, and then brings all these speeders back. And I love the new interaction, or the relationship that was built between him and the Tuskin child.
Yes, yeah.
There's almost like a father-son type of respect that's there now.
Yeah, or at least the kid has this admiration for him.
Yeah, exactly. Like he enjoys being with him. He now respects Boba for what he's doing.
And I like the way that Boba treats the tribe. Like he asks the tribe leader permission to go out and do these things.
And I think
he's not just like, I'm leaving. Like it gets to the point where there's enough mutual respect there that the Tuskin Raiders feel comfortable enough with Boba Fett to really welcome him in, especially when he comes back. And they basically, it was such a great scene. It harkened back to a lot of like old westerns and stuff.
Oh, when he's walking in, you see the heat waves, or he's riding it. I'm sorry,
just the whole thing where like he brings the speeder bikes back to them, and he's teaching them how to ride them, and it's like it's like an old train robbery, like in the old westerns where we're gearing up to rob this train. So it's like we go through practice, right? We do practice runs and we get good, and here's the plan, here's what we're doing. And finally the train comes back, they enact the plan, they're riding alongside it, they hop on the train, and they're able to take this thing down after a huge action scene.
Oh yeah, that whole thing was fun. I mean, we go through. I mean, there's actually a whole nother relationship that's being built outside of the child, and then really the leader, of this Tusken tribe. I can't tell if it's a male or a female, but whoever it is teaching him how to fight, and Boba is accepting it, as much so as that Tusken Raider done just smacked him, open hand smacked him in the face. And you can see the fire in Boba's eyes. He's like, hold on, no, that's not cool.
You're right. So basically, we've got 3 Tusken Raiders that were made to like look at in particular. There's the kid, there's the tribe leader, and what seems to be like their best warrior in the tribe. It's the one that's been knocking him down with the gaffy sticks and training him with the gaffy sticks. to the point now where they're almost becoming equals as far as Boba Fett is really learning how to use this gaffy stick. And when he comes back and they're, sitting by the fire after a job well done, after taking this train down, they do kind of like a tribal dance together in celebration before they really get him going with with the lizard and stuff.
I mean, let's go back to the train real quick. I think there is something that is massive that happens with the train. Not so much the train fight, because you're right. The train fight, that was fantastic. Between the speeders coming up, the kid going ahead and signing, letting people that the others know that they're coming. Everyone had their part. And when it was that one that he was training with, what came up, jumped in, it went up behind him. It was like, when they were pinned down. And that's a good point. Oh, we both clicked on at the same time. There we go. Jasmine thinks it's the queen of the tribe.
Oh, that might be. Yeah.
That could very well be. Kind of like in like a lion's pride.
Right.
The women are the hunters. So they're basically they're warriors.
Do you think we'll get a reveal? Do you think one of these Tusken Raiders? I don't think a Tusken Raider will ever take their mask off.
No,
I don't think we'll get that.
I'm kind of with you though. I like that mystery. I don't want that. I don't want to ruin that.
But this warrior has kind of a huge part in this train, taking down this train too. Like he
wrecked her speeder right into it, and
like he or she, I don't know. They're the first one to get on this train, like inside of it, and start taking people down from the inside, and allowing Boba Fett and some of these other raiders to get on board and
get to the front where the actual where the droid is controlling it, and the droid bails out. That was funny. Just jumps out the window. I'm done.
It reminded me a lot like a high-speed train stuff. Like it was giving me flashes of Back to the Future 3 when Doc and Marty were like getting that train up to 88 miles per hour using those logs that he made or whatever. But that's just, that's my point of reference.
Now, okay, so this whole thing takes place. They take the train. They have all the occupants outside.
Yeah.
Boba's like, who's the leader? It's never a good idea to speak up the leader as a leader, but this one stands up, walks forward.
Yeah.
And we come to find when he takes off his mask, I'm looking at him like, I'm trying to pinpoint where I know a character like this. I mean, it's a pike. And basically, Boba says, these lands are no longer free. You're paying a toll if you're going to pass over these lands. Because he asked him if they're transporting spice. He's playing stupid. What spice? What is
spice?
It? Oh, that's spice. He's like, things aren't looking good for you.
Yeah.
But once we learn that, I think Boba is actually I don't think the Hutts are going to be the big bads.
Oh, you think it's going to be this pike?
I think it's the pikes, because you do not cross the pikes.
Was this the first time seeing a pike without its mask on?
I
think it was.
Yeah, I think it is, because we see the pikes in Solo.
Yeah,
but I do not believe that they ever had their masks off.
I wonder if they're all this race of whatever this race was. And we've never seen this alien before. I know that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, some of the pikes are huge. They're really big. I mean, they're like the movie Alien, like big. And they got they're a lot more ceremonial, and they're like the leaders, and they're the ones you truly don't cross. And these are more like the underlings.
In that moment that you described, where they took these pikes off the train, and the leader speaks up, in that moment, anything could have happened. I was half expecting Boba Fett or one of the Tusken Raiders to just off him. Like, who's the leader? Okay, we shoot the leader dead. Now you tell the rest of them to get out of here and deliver a message, whatever message there is to relay. But he didn't. He was like
he guaranteed safety.
He did. Well, the leader told them, we thought these Tusken Raiders were uncivilized and we were just, whatever.
Protecting our way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Boba Fett, he corrects them. He's like, no, to show you how civilized we are, we're going to let you go. And when you come back, you're going to give us a toll. You're going to pay your way through here. This is their land. Once again, more history. This is their land that you're trespassing on.
Yeah.
And for Boba Fett to be a staunch defender of that, I thought it was such a great character piece. It was nice.
And I loved how the leader was watching from a distance, because at first, when I seen that, the first time I watched it, I almost felt like he disagreed with him letting him live.
Right.
But the second time I watched it, I think you kind of read the body language. Once again, body language in these shows. Some of these, it's all body language. And with his character, predominantly, it's body language you're reading. He's acting. And after the second time, you kind of see an understanding why he did this.
I love the mystique of the Tusken Raiders. Like, if you're going to be in these parts of Tatooine, you better watch your back, you better give your respect, and you better know how to deal with Tusken Raiders. You either run your ass off, or you know how to talk to them and make make it worthwhile to be able
Make
to
good, yeah,
pass
make
through
good
that.
with them.
Yeah, so I love that whole aura around the Tusken Raiders that's developed over the last few years, honestly, because in the movies they're just the same people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they get shot at and slaughtered. But here in the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, we've really got a nice, cool story with them.
Yeah, it's been, and I was kind of with you originally last episode. I didn't want any more flashbacks, and when we went back to the back to tank, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
And we got a lot in there. And we were talking about like the Pikes. Well, they're running spice from, but they even straight up said the mines of Kessel.
Right.
We have Crimson Dawn that runs in that same space. There's been a lot of rumors prior to this that Emma Clark was going to go ahead and play. You said her name earlier. Kira again. So
I'm not so sure about that. Well, here's the thing, because in the timeline, we're pretty far up ahead from when Kira actually, who knows if Kira is actually still the leader of Crimson Dawn at this point. Because last time we saw them, it was like maybe 10 years before A New Hope. That's when Solo takes place. And this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So there's at least maybe like 20, 25 years
there's
between.
a good span in between them two.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll see Emilia Clarke. If we do, that's cool. I guess, it's weird that one actor would be Solo during that time and Harrison Ford. Here's a rumor that I heard, and I don't know, spoiler alert. This is just a rumor, unconfirmed. I heard a rumor that Harrison Ford was making a comeback.
I heard the same thing, yeah.
And they were going to like de-age him for just like a scene to be, the younger Return of the Jedi era Han Solo. I don't think it's necessary, honestly. I think it would be, unless you find a way to make it fit with the plot, which I guess you would have to. It worked for Luke Skywalker because for episodes we were waiting for the Jedi to come and get Grogu.
Yeah.
Who is this Jedi going to be? And it worked, that reveal. But they're not leading into any kind of reveal on like Han Solo unless he's just like in the back of a room playing sabacc or
something. Just sitting back there with freaking, why am I blanking on his name? Lando, thank you. Wow, that's embarrassing.
Lando's getting his own show eventually, apparently, so we'll see how that works out.
But dude, yeah, I mean, I would love to see the crime, those two crime syndicates, because also we're talking about 3 crime syndicates now. We're talking about the Pikes, we're talking about Crimson Sun, and we're talking about the Hutts. Those 3 wrestling over that, they are 3 massive enemies that Boba is making.
Yeah.
And his only muscle is Fennec and these 2 Grammarians. Ow, I hit my thumb.
He's going to need more than that. Yeah.
So I really, 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 like we were talking about before, I think his muscle is going to wind up being the Tuskins. I think they're going to be his muscle. Like when he needs his back, covered, they're going to be the ones that are going to be with him.
Or at least a part of his, maybe he's going to have to grow his crime family, basically, right? This is something that the mayor warned him about earlier in that episode. Being a bounty hunter and being the leader of a crime syndicate are 2 very different things. Yeah. And you're going to have to learn how to govern. You're going to learn how to manage people instead of just, doing jobs one by one. And I think that's what the most interesting thing about the show is going to be, is watching Boba Fett learn how to be a crime boss.
Well, there's a whole scene like within the trailers that we haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. It's when he's sitting at the head of a table, right? And basically he has everyone circling these other, I guess, heads of families that were working with Boba Fett, with Jaba.
Yeah,
that now would be working with him. So that may be the next episode. That may be him, like, circling the wagons, getting everyone in. Yeah. Like, okay, you want to make money? I'm here to make money.
We're finally going to get the Sopranos in space. It's going to be great.
Or the Godfather right there.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. But so, yeah, that kind of wraps up the huge taking down the train scene, huge action set piece that was done really, really well. They go back to celebrate. They have kind of a dance the warrior does with Boba by the fire. And at that point,
that happened at the very end, didn't it? When he had his own
when he
gaffy
had
stick?
his gaffy stick. Oh yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, so I think what you're referring is once they took him down, they're back in the tent.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in there talking, him and the leader, and he has a gift for him.
Right.
And he opens up this, and he's like, "Oh, a lizard." And
I thought it was going to be a pet.
I didn't know what it was. And then it just shot itself up his nose. I'm like,
right.
Oh, then he's like, "Oh, I swallowed him. Sorry." But man, that was freaky. And then we get into some like weird, trippy, like montage dream state that he's in.
He goes on like an LCD induced walkabout, man, where he's just walking the Dune Sea there on Tatooine in the sand dunes.
Well, did you notice the tree where the tree was sitting, and then the ripple effect? It almost looked like it was sitting in water.
It looked like Camino, like, he was like flashing in and out of like, and I thought that was such a great dynamic where like Boba Fett is from this planet where it's nothing but water, and now like he's making his homestead in this planet that has like legit no water. So I thought just the environmental difference between these planets where he came from and where he's at now was just like a very cool thing. And yeah, it was very trippy. And I guess there must be some real tree out there growing in the midst of Tatooine, the Tatooine deserts, where at least this tribe of Tuskin Raiders goes out to get the branch that will become their gaffy stick. And it reminded me of like when a Jedi is, building his own lightsaber, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, when he's going to get his own crystal.
Yeah.
And basically it talks to him, they pick that's pretty cool comparison too. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's like you grab the branch where eventually they shape it into the gaffy stick that they use, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I liked how that. I mean, there was a few different montages that I liked that was in this flashback between him training with his own gaffy stick, basically just a stick, to the training montage of before they jump the train and then take the train out. Yeah. Now this is him getting his gaffy stick, taking it back, and when he's walking back and the kid sees him, that's another one of those really good, like I think probably underrated scene based on how many amazing things happen in this episode.
Yeah,
just those little those little things when you're walking back and he's just someone walking in and all you see is the heat rays and you see this beat up white onesie he's wearing,
right?
And then he walks back, he shows the actual branch.
It was a good scene. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, queen.
You think it's a queen?
I think it's a queen. They were standing side by side.
Yeah.
She took it, and then she walked away, and then basically he goes into, the tent, and he gets rid of his onesie.
Right.
He gets rid of it. I mean, he gets his own robes now, which are pretty cool. It's like he finally gets his own stuff, and he walks out. He has the hood on. He flips the hood back, and then he looks like badass Boba. Just without the armor. Now he looks like someone that's formidable.
No, he looks the way that we found him in Mandalorian last year.
Yes.
With his black tunic and his gaffy stick, and he's just like, looking badass. Christopher was thinking the water was the Dune Sea before it dried up. Oh, good call on connecting Camino. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is he was having these flashes, and we saw him once again. We saw young Boba Fett and Slave One. That was done great too. Like this whole thing was like, what a great episode of TV.
It was almost a complete 180 from episode 1 on how well it was done. And we should know better. We should really know better. They know what they're doing. Everything has been connected. Everything has a purpose, and that's why we like I said before, we've now seen the back to tank 3 times.
Yeah,
I'm on record. Episode 1,
you were.
So
you're like, something's up with this back to tank.
See if my crazy thing comes true. But this whole episode was so good. From the lizard, he comes back, and then he opens up the thing, and the lizard jumps out of his nose.
Yeah, he's like, ah.
But we had the montage of him making his gaffy stick now.
Yeah.
So I mean, from two guys that love montages, we got our montages.
Oh, we love our montages. Yeah. And when he comes back and he's dancing with the warrior by the fire, and they all start doing this like tribal dance, very much like the New Zealand Maoris and like the people in that like islanders do.
Yeah.
Where Tamora Morrison is from, like that's part of his culture, and he's brought that to this role, which I think is just like wow, what like cool stuff to bring to. Essentially, everybody loved Boba Fett because of the look of him, and like, oh, he's a cool bounty hunter, and he chased Han Solo, and like yada yada yada, and he's badass because he has a flamethrower and a jetpack, and oh, isn't that cool? But to see Tamora Morrison, the man behind the mask, to see the relationships that he's building, to see him survive time after time like he's a survivor, to see him fight without the use of blasters or grappling hooks or anything like that, is like now he's really fleshing this character out to be a total badass, like a complete badass.
I am enjoying more of the Boba with the Tuskin Raiders.
Yeah.
Than I am with him at current, like his current
helmet
time.
Off. You like Boba Fett helmet off?
I like Boba Fett helmet off.
Yeah.
If I want to see, that was the Boba Fett that I enjoyed in The Mandalorian. That was the badass Boba that I like then. Once we've come back and he's back in his, his get up, I've seen nothing but him get his butt kicked. You know what I mean? I've seen him just get whooped.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he got whooped by these parkour dudes jumping off this, what do they call this? The something wind? The night wind?
Whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't know. They seem like they're one and done.
Yeah. I mean, they may not be. There may be something more down the road. I mean, I think they're setting up a bunch of things, a bunch of characters, a bunch of storylines for other shows as well. I mean, there's a lot more coming.
Yeah.
But what if he had to go one-on-one with Black KRRSANTAN? I don't think he would have survived it.
No.
Or the Gamorreans again would be dragging his limp body and toss him in the back tank again. So, yeah, I mean, I want to see current day Boba turn into badass.
Right.
Not just past Boba.
Yeah. Well, I want to see more of this drama with becoming a crime boss, him learning how to navigate that. I think that stuff's really interesting. You're right. I want to see him be more formidable in a fight. So far, once he's gotten the armor, it seems like he got his armor and he doesn't know how to fight anymore.
Yeah.
I want to see some badass like Boba Fett scenes, like the Boba Fett that we knew from the past with his armor, some Mandalorian style stuff. But I have faith. My faith is renewed now with this chapter 2 that we're gonna see some cool stuff here up ahead.
I'm ready for 3 now. I got to end the episode when I turned on episode 2 on Wednesday. I did it with apprehension.
Yeah,
because I wanted it to be good, but I didn't know if it was going to be. Right. And if episode 2 wasn't good, in my opinion, it'd have been spiraling. And when the minute I seen it was the length it was like, okay, that was the first thing that gave me hope. And then just going deeper into it. So,
yeah. Christopher wants to see Bosk. Do you think we'll see Bosk?
Ooh. Ooh.
Is Bosk a Trandoshan or is that the
Bosk
race?
was a Trandoshan, and the Trandoshan
doesn't Bosk have issues with BLACK KRRSANTAN too?
Yes, he does. He's hunted them for a long time, but the Trandoshans and the Wookiees, they are forever enemies.
Right.
They hate each other. They kill each other for sport.
Yeah, so Christopher, that was a great pull. Another Christopher watching us. Christopher Williams is back. Hey,
welcome back, Chris.
You joined us for a lot of the Ted Lasso stuff, so it's good to have you back, man. I appreciate it.
I was actually thinking about you the other day when we were doing this. It's like I was wondering if you're going to join us back.
Yeah, he says episode 2 was epic. It totally was. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, between Black, I don't know if you got the same response as I did out of BLACK KRRSANTAN, but earlier we were talking about it got me basically. It got the moment out of me that I was expecting, or I was hoping.
Yeah, you're not going to play the clip a third time, are you?
You know what? Why not? Let's roll it a third time.
You can bring as many gladiators as you wish. But these are not the deathbeds of Dur, and I am not a sleeping Trandoshan god.
I think that's gonna about do it for chapter 2.
Oh man, you mentioned Bosk, and he was mentioning the Trandoshan guards.
Yeah.
If we see a live action boss, dude, I'll go through the roof.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be man. I'm
Christopher says, "Look at this gladiator." Yeah, he's fierce, man. We're definitely not the last time we're gonna see this character.
No, we better see him more than one more time.
Yeah.
A few more times on this specific show.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm hoping for next week, I hope we get another episode that's this length at least. You know, a good 40-45 minutes. The first episode was way too short. I like this, felt more like, you know, was fitting in some more story. So hopefully chapter 3 will be
Do you think they did that on purpose, episode 1? Because they wanted to go ahead and give us the backstory, basically the fan service that everyone wanted to see. How did he escape? All this, all this back stuff. And then we can jump into the actual full story, episode 2.
Yeah. But Christopher also says the Hutt arc will be interesting. Yeah, not the last time we've seen the twins either.
Oh no, no. I'm curious what more. I want to see another Rancor.
Yeah, I do too. We have the Rancor that they picked up in the Bad Batch animated show, a new Rancor, baby Rancor. So maybe we'll see a grown-up version of that same one. I'm still holding out hope that we actually see Omega from the Bad Batch, which is essentially Boba Fett's sister. I don't know if we'll see that.
I don't. Now that we know, because honestly, what they're doing is they've put so many storylines in play.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them throw another storyline.
I think, yeah, if they were going to do that, we would have seen threads of that already in episode 1 or episode 2. And I think it's a little too late to introduce a thread that would lead to Omega.
Because we have 7 episodes, we've gotten 2 already. So we have 5 episodes left.
Right.
And without just overstuffing the show and leaving so many, I think this is just going to be a 7-episode series. And once it's done, it's done.
Like a limited series with no season 2. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
I think that's what it is. I think that's what almost the majority of the Star Wars, the Disney Plus shows are going to be. They're going to be limited series.
Yeah.
So they won't be multiple seasons. So I would think they wouldn't want to leave any thread loose unless that thread is going to tie into, say, Ahsoka, or it's going to tie into Obi-Wan, or somewhere. I mean, Obi-Wan, I think is going to be
whatever the next big project's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to do it for chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. Really great episode of the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. Really good episode of any Star Wars TV show ever, honestly, that we've had thus far with between The Mandalorian and this show. But yeah, be sure to join us next week again at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We're going to be here to discuss chapter 3.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. Oh yeah, who's in the mayor
seems like a douchebag.
I think that is the best place to go ahead and sign off.
I think you're right, Christopher. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to join us here again next week, and we'll see you then.